Hey, welcome back to the vlog, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Kyle with Being Bethunes, and today we're out exploring. I really don't have a game plan in mind, or at least I don't have a good game plan in mind, but we're over in Tampa today. Jen is getting her tattoo that she recently got done. That maybe I'll let her tell that story, but anyway, she's getting it improved and getting it fixed up to her liking. So me and you are just out exploring today, a town that I'm very familiar with. I spent pretty much 90% of my life in this area, which I have been showing a lot lately, well, because I am in this area, but yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about. We are just outside of downtown Tampa. That is what you see across there. That's the Hillsborough River running, that snakes its way to, let me think, probably to the western part of downtown Tampa, where you can see the folks walking over there. This is called the River Walk, but that is the Tampa Skyline. Probably not the best angle for the Tampa Skyline, but it's currently the one we're getting. Yeah, beautiful day out here in Central Florida. It's a little brisk. I'm sorry, the wind's moving quite a bit, but temperature-wise, I'd say we're probably in the low to 70s today. Absolutely gorgeous day to be out. So I really have no game plan in mind for today. I'm just gonna kind of be walking around and checking things out a little bit. It's a pretty cool place to shoot a video. I mean, it's really pretty down here. They have really rejuvenated the Tampa area a lot in the last decade or so. I mean, they've put a lot of money into the infrastructure, and they put a lot of money and resources into the nightlife and just daily life. You know, there's more walking trails, there's more to do in Tampa. Tampa's never really been considered a walkable city or a city that really has much going on after business hours close. So they've really put a good effort into that over the last, like I say, decade, 20 years. They've really done a good job with that. But the waterway in front of me is the Hillsborough River that runs out into Tampa Bay. And it snakes to the north for a good portion, all the way up. I actually don't even know what it runs into, but it goes up that way quite a good ways as we're looking north right now. But not too far down this way. It does dump out into Tampa Bay though. But thanks for being here, guys, as always. Again, I don't really have a good idea what's going on today, but I think it's going to be a good day, and I'm glad you're here. So directly to the south of me is the University of Tampa campus. You can see some points over there, some peaks over there. Tampa is hugely influenced by Henry Plant. And you know, a lot of his architectural, you know, he was a railroad guy and had a lot of money, and a lot of the influence you see around the Tampa Bay area is a lot of his doings from back well over 100 years ago. But absolutely probably one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen though. University of Tampa is quite a lovely campus. It extends a good portion here along the river. It looks like this is part of one of their athletic facilities over here in front of me. Not exactly sure what sport, maybe, I don't know, maybe soccer is what it looks like from here. But this university has grown, I mean, immensely. And again, in the last couple of decades, they have a pretty good draw to get kids here from all over the country now. It used to be I would say a relatively unknown university, but they've done a good job as far as marketing it and making it more appealing to, you know, folks graduating high school in different parts of the country. As you guys know me, I'm a good sucker for an art installation. Former Wander plants a winding structural network on a pier columns straddle this extension of the Riverwalk Trail, inviting visitors to walk around and through it on a winding path. They thrust upward into a triangle of branches, not unlike native mangroves, which take root along Florida shorelines. Over the water, the piece becomes a floating forest-like canopy, which provides a shade and ambiance to those beneath and within. A moor of shadow and light projects through the lattice overhead to create a dynamic space at the times of day. The structure's designer, Mark Forns, unites architecture and art through creational design and digital fabrication process. His studio has built a large-scale public structures for U.S. and foreign cities, and each work intended to provide a unique and engaging spatial experience. One thing you can definitely tell about when you're in the Tampa Bay area, or as far as the Hillsborough River goes, you're definitely in some brackish water at this point, because you see the barnacles and the oysters suction against the seawall here on the Hillsborough River. The water's actually relatively clear. I don't know if you can tell through the camera, but I mean, it's a few feet deep right here, and I can see straight to the bottom, which is kind of a unusual thing in Tampa Bay. I know they've had an initiative, again, over the last decade or two to really clean this area up and to clean this river up, because at one time it was pretty disgusting. Like they have dumped God only knows what in these rivers over the last 100+ years of its industrial life. But I'm really proud to see that they have, really put a lot of effort into getting this place clean, and the water is actually really reflecting it now. I don't ever remember the water being this clear, even in my lifetime. So that's a good thing to see and pretty encouraging thing. Well, our first stop brings us to the corner of Nebraska Avenue and 7th to the Cuban Factory here, which is a Cuban cuisine restaurant. You know me, guys. Cuban is my jam. I'm pretty excited. Actually, never been here before, so I'm pretty stoked to try it out. So I went with their house Cuban sandwich. I got some French fries over here, and I got a Cuban staple, a Cuban delicacy, if you will, a flan, some flan. I've actually only had flan a couple times throughout the years, and I've never really been a big fan. This one here is a guava flan, but with the place being named Cuban Factory, I figured while in Rome, why not? And Coca-Cola to wash it all down. All right, first we're gonna go on with the Cuban sandwich. Cuban sandwich consists of roasted pork, ham, salami, mustard, mayonnaise, and pickles. A relatively simple sandwich, but it's pretty much the bread that is what makes them so unique and so amazing. And they press them, so let's go with it. Typically, in my experience, it's the roasted pork that really makes the difference when it comes to Cuban sandwiches, the quality of it, how they made it. You can tell this is a pretty solid one. You know me, I love French fries. It's the simple things, guys. So these are just shoestring fries. I'm sure they're just frozen. But I love French fries. It's a guilty pleasure. I dig them. And then, of course, last but not least, as I'm dripping it everywhere, the flan. Flan is like a custardy pudding, I guess would be the best way for me to describe it. Ooh. I'm a huge fan of guava, so anytime I order a dessert or they offer guava, that's typically one of my go-tos. Wow. I may have a new favorite. I've never really cared for flan much, but that's fantastic. Wow. Cuban food is one of those cuisines I talk about a lot in my travels, especially when we're in other places, and we do potlucks a lot. I will make Cuban food to the best of my ability. This is a relatively unknown cuisine throughout the country. Growing up in Florida, it's on every street corner, and it's super popular here. But as far as the rest of the country goes, they typically never even heard of Cuban bread or a Cuban sandwich. So I like to try to spread the knowledge for people, because when they do visit Florida, especially the Tampa Bay area and then South Florida, it is a very prominent cuisine. And it's amazing. It's really, really good stuff. Well, that was tasty. I brought half my sandwich back with me, and I have some fries in here. Not the best Cuban sandwich I've ever eaten, but it's definitely high up on the list. I think I had that one last year. We did a video on it. We were in Riverview, which is about 20 miles southeast of here. Probably the best Cuban sandwich I've ever had in my life. But that flan was lights out. Like I say, I don't have a ton to compare it to, because traditionally I don't like flan, but that was awesome. That was really good. It's just a pudding, like a custardy texture, not overly sweet, and then they kind of drizzle some type of sauce on it, and then that one was a guava flan. That was pretty good. Definitely would eat that again. Cuban sandwich, again, it's typically the roast pork that does it for me. That's what really, levels it up. It's a relatively simple sandwich. The ham is typically just going to be sliced ham. Cheese is Swiss cheese, which is unique. That's what I love about the Cuban sandwich so much, is it's just a relatively simple sandwich. There's not a ton to it, but the roast pork is usually the factor that puts it on the scale for me. But I'm stuffed. I brought some for a snack later, because I'm sure I'm gonna want it. I don't exactly, again guys, I don't have a solid plan for today, so I don't even really know where I'm heading next, but you're going with me. Our next stop on today's adventure brings us to the corner of 16th Avenue and Columbus Drive here in Ebor City, which is east of Tampa, Florida. And we're here at the J.C. Newman Cigar Factory. Absolutely gorgeous building that I'm about to tell you a little bit about. I'm going to read a little blurb about it, because I don't know a ton about it, and there's some cool, interesting information I want to share. So at one point in time, Ebor City was known as the cigar capital of the world. It earned the title in the 1930s when Tampa was the largest city in Florida and home to over 150 cigar factories. Today, only the J.C. Newman cigar factory remains. So even to this day, they still hand roll cigars in this 114-year-old factory now, which is distinguished most notably by this huge clock tower here that you can definitely see from pretty much all over Tampa, Florida. Being such a flat area, this is definitely one of the iconic landmarks you see when you arrive in the city. It's probably just a couple blocks off of Interstate 4, and I have passed it in my entire life and I've never stopped here. So today was the day. I think we can go inside. I believe they have a little gift shop inside there, and maybe hopefully have a viewing window where we can still see them wrapping some hand-rolled cigars. And across the way there, they have a little memorial park type thing, I'm assuming for the founder, what do they call it, Cigar Workers Park. So yeah, what I'm gonna guess is at one point in time, this was probably a place where they would take their breaks during their shifts in the factories. I know that was a very strange time, obviously the 1930s, coming out of the Depression, into the Depression, previous to the war. Yeah, I always knew Tampa was a very big cigar producer at one point in time. Again, that's where the Cuban influence really weighs heavy on the area. Let's walk on in here and see what we can see. I absolutely just love these old buildings and stuff, and you know, even more so than that, how they preserve them and use them for generations. So built in 1910 by not even E. Rigensberg and Sons, restored in 2020 by the J.C. Newman Cigar Factory. So you can definitely tell within the last, 4 years, they've done a pretty extensive overhaul on the building, but it's still absolutely beautiful. Let's go check it out. So they do have a little museum inside the factory here. I know that's where they hand dried tobacco. They would hang it throughout the warehouses. The American, I guess that's some of their cigars. Look at that, 4 cigars for 8 cents. That's pretty interesting. These over here, these were the Belvederes. I am not very experienced in Cuban cigars, but those were 15 cents. So those are, you know, you gotta figure it's significantly more. 4 for 8 cents versus 15 cents. And these are actually all Havana. So these are Cuban cigars made in Tampa. Less than 1% nicotine.
This guy, 2006, he was 90.
Check out this old clock right here. This thing, it's pretty cool. E. Howard & Co., Boston, Massachusetts. So apparently you can get your own box of personalized cigars here, stamped right at the factory. They have this little stamping machine where you can have, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it engraved, but imprinting, I guess would be the word. They do still sell cigars in here, so right here you get, those are $6.70 a piece, or if you buy the whole box, it's $150, so you get 10% off if you choose to purchase the whole box. They have 2 good-sized cabinets here, slot full of varying cigars from different prices, and again, I don't know a lot about these sort of things. Wow, these are getting more expensive. $19 a piece right here, or $342 a box. I wonder what the most expensive one in here is. I'd be curious to know. All right, so we're on the back side of the J.C. Newman factory here. It is a rather large factory. It's much bigger than I was expecting. They do have tours. Again, I wish I had time to do all that stuff, but I believe they run 3 times daily here at the factory. I actually did not inquire to see if there was a price associated with that, but yeah, I'm glad I stopped. So just a couple of miles east of the J.C. Newman Cigar Factory is a place that I spent a lot of time, a lot of hours in my youth, the skate park of Tampa, which is right here off of Columbus Drive in Tampa, Florida, just outside of Ebor City. They have a huge vert ramp outside now. This place has changed a lot over the years, but this is one of the OG skate parks that's still in existence today. This place opened up in the early 90s, and I've been coming here. Well, I started coming here in the mid to late 90s, I mean, frequently for years and years and years. So not a huge skate park, but it caters more to the skateboard world. But I rode BMX, and every Wednesday and Sunday they allowed BMX bikes in, and it was a cool place to come hang out. I have a lot of memories here. Made a lot of good friends and connections here throughout my youth and teenage years. So it's cool to see it's still in the same building, and like, you know, looks like all's well, still well here. They do hold some big events here in the skateboard world. It's a very well-known facility as far as that goes. Well, we have made our way to the historic Ebor City, or at least the main drag of Ebor City, which is 7th Avenue, who runs several city blocks. I know this part of town at one point was a huge cigar area, but coming up here on the left, you're gonna see the Columbia restaurant. You might remember a couple of vlogs back, we were in Celebration and me and Jen had lunch at the Columbia. This is the original location that opened in 1905, so it was an integral part of the cigar boom here in Tampa. But yeah, that's the original, really, really cool restaurant. Again, over 100 years old. I love the exterior. They have these tiles, these Spanish tiles, if you will. Absolutely a beautiful restaurant, inside and out. It's kind of like the starting point for me for Ebor City anyway. They actually have a museum over here on the corner of 21st and 7th. The Columbia is housed, you know, on the blocks between 21st and 22nd Avenue on 7th Avenue. Definitely, if you're ever in Tampa and you want a taste of the culture, you want a taste of what Tampa's all about, I think the Columbia can sum that up for you pretty good in a meal. You know, it's definitely on the higher end. It's a little more pricey, but definitely a good stop. I highly recommend it. The 1905 salad is the best salad I've ever had anywhere in the United States. So super love that. I love that place so much. But yeah, this area is kind of just like a party zone. They have a lot of bars, clubs, restaurants and stuff. This area has gone through a lot of, you know, transitions through the decades. There's a pretty cool mural right here on the left. Looks like Henry Plant on there. Got some roosters. Yeah, the roosters are a big thing here, like down in the Florida Keys. But yeah, it's definitely had its issues with crime over the years. I know they've cleaned it up a lot, hit or miss. The homeless population's definitely prominent down here. But on the weekends and the evening time, it's definitely a party central. The Gasparilla Night Parade happens down here, probably coming up here in the next couple of weeks. It's usually around the Super Bowl time. But, you know, I do like that they've kept the buildings relatively, you know, historic for the most part. There are some good places to eat down here. I used to work at the Port of Tampa, which is only a few miles away from here, and we would frequent this area for lunch a lot of times, and you know, it's always a good time down here. There's some good music venues down here, or at least there was at one time. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but yeah, I mean, Ebor City, a lot of people, it's spelled Y-B-O-R. Most people will usually start with Ybor. I heard that usually from a lot of new people moving into town. But yeah, it goes by Ebor City. Definitely a historic, definitely a legendary spot of the Tampa Bay area. You know, Hillsborough County. Some chickens are taking up the road here. Like I said, they're a thing around here. And if I would imagine they're protected. Look at those guys, no fear at all. Just hanging out right there in the middle of the dadgum road, not worried about a thing. I guess that when you're a protected chicken living in this country, you just walk around with an attitude. Quite a lovely view of the Tampa Skyline on this, what is the final day of January 2024. My goodness, guys, can you believe January is over? This year, I have a feeling it's just gonna smoke by. Holy cow, the 31st day of January. Beautiful skyline. You know, I really have lost track of the season. It's now 6:15. The sun is setting here in Tampa. Last time I remember, it was like 5:15. It was getting dark. I've apparently missed an hour. But straight ahead here is Amalie Arena, where the Tampa Bay Lightning NHL franchise plays their home games. quite a great venue. I've been to quite a few Lightning games over the years, and they do a fantastic job. They put on quite a show outside of the hockey game, and they do a really nice job. But we're passing the Tampa and on the what they call the Selman Expressway, which is a toll road that leads from Brandon, which is where we used to live, all the way, pretty much all the way through Tampa, and dumps out right over kind of in the MacDill Air Force Base area. I'm pretty sure that was the motivation for this route here. There's the Hillsborough River where we started this old video many hours ago. As you can see, the river walk is nice and lit up there, but absolutely gorgeous evening here, early evening here in Tampa, Florida. You know, I was just reading the other day, Tampa, or actually yesterday, was voted, I can't remember the exact number, but within the top 10 of most vibrant U.S. cities to live in. I wasn't really sure what they meant at the time, but to be honest with you, it's looking quite vibrant today. You don't really, you know, I think you kind of discount your hometown a little bit. You know, it's kind of where you grew up and everything you're familiar with, and you know, if you have bad history there, and I think it kind of clouds your judgment as far as, you know, thinking about your hometown or your home city in that type of way, or at least it does for me. I mean, I really have no beef with this area, you know, other than just, you know, nothing serious. But, you know, I visit, you know, obviously we visit a lot of U.S. cities, you know, big and small and everything in between. And it's just always interesting whenever you read your hometown city on a list, you know, however your perspective meets up to that. But that's enough rambling. I am on my way to pick Jen up. She should be wrapping up her tattoo repair. I'm pretty excited. I know she's pretty excited to show you guys. She's pretty much sat in a chair the last 2 days getting this thing fixed up. So I hope she's pleased with it. I'm pretty sure she is. So we should be there in just a minute. And well, yeah, we'll check out her new tattoo, or her newer version of her tattoo. All right, so we got here. There's the University of Tampa right across the street. Oh, well, hello.
Hello, how are you? Can we go get in the car?
You look a little saran wrapped there.
I am. I'm very saran wrapped right now.
So they're gonna have to wait and see. But Jen just got her tattoo here at DC Society Tattoo Studio. Apparently, it's owned by Dave Bautista, the professional wrestler, right here off Kennedy Boulevard, right across the street from the University of Tampa football stadium. But yeah, the Dave Bautista wrestler slash actor, the Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's pretty cool. I wish he would have been there. That'd have been awesome to see that guy. But anyway, we're an hour and a half away from Orlando. Catch a little bit of evening Tampa skyline there. You can see the top of the Bank of America building and the house building, if I've always called it, to the right over there. I guess that's now the Regions Bank building. But we got to get back to the kiddos and some pups. Oh, we did make it back to see the puppies. There's Kevin, which is smashing his face into the camera. Come here, buddy. Oh, Kevin. They're always so happy to see us when we get home. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to wrap me up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my little video around Tampa Bay. It is a lovely town and a lovely area, and I really enjoyed spending the day with you guys and walking around and checking out the sights and the sounds. But for me and Kevin, you know, we'll see you here in a couple of days in another old video. And until then, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, I love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, buddy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.